Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Gifford Ramos, and today I will be talking about the importance of Solar U, my company, in the future development of society. Now, just to give an overview of my presentation, I will be introducing what the external situation is of my presentation. I will then be discussing the purpose and scope of this report. I will then be talking about what is solar energy, the technology behind it, and what it is. I will then be discussing the solar panel industry, and then I'll be talking about why solar. And after that, I will be talking about the benefits and drawbacks, and then I will conclude my presentation. Now, to just introduce my presentation, there is an everlasting issue that affects society as a whole and our planet, and that issue is climate change. Now, with climate change, there is one helping solution to that, and that is solar energy. And so now who are we? My company that I represent is Solar U. We are a socially responsible company that aims to educate and inform consumers on why switching over to solar is the right decision. Now, for the purpose of my presentation, like I said, my company Solar U is we aim to educate and inform individuals why solar energy is the best choice for a source. Now, we aim to provide those interested in switching to solar with the most efficient way of saving their money and energy. And now for my scope of my presentation, I will be discussing what is solar energy, explain the increasing solar panel industry in our country, and then I'll be analyzing the benefits and drawbacks of using solar panels. Now, I will be talking about what is solar energy. Now, solar energy is the most abundant and cleanest source of energy in the world. When you compare it to other sources of energy, they are non-renewable and non-sustainable, such as fossil fuels that include coal and natural gas. These sources of energies are finite and cannot be relied in the long haul of source of energy in our society. Now, when you compare it to solar energy, it is sustainable and a clean alternative to those forms. And what is solar energy? Solar energy is simply light and heat from the sun. This light and heat from the sun is converted into energy, which makes solar energy. Now, when harnessing solar energy, there are three main ways of obtaining that. First is photovoltaics, second is solar heating and cooling, and third is concentrating solar power. Now, the main most popular way of harnessing solar energy is photovoltaics, which I will then discuss right now. So, with photovoltaic technology, again, is a most popular form of harnessing solar energy. Photovoltaic technology uses tech that converts sunlight directly into electricity. The technology used are PV cells, which are also just known as photovoltaic cells. These PV cells absorb the sunlight, and when they're absorbed, it converts directly into electricity. Now, it's important to note that the sunlight can be absorbed, reflected, or simply pass through these PV cells. And how this all works is because sunlight is composed of photons, otherwise known as particles of solar energy. These photons are then absorbed, and what can be absorbed does generate directly in electricity. And PV cells are also commonly known as solar panels. You see these all the time on people's roofs across neighborhoods and business owners. And these solar panels can supply electricity at nearly every location and electricity consumer across the world. Now I'll be discussing the solar panel industry. First thing to know about the solar panel industry is that the industry is booming. Solar panel installations are an all-time high, and the amount of cumulative solar panel installations have greatly increased over the past decade. This has increased for residential households, non-residentials, and utility usage. And what utility usage means is they're used in solar farms, which are just massive areas of solar panels that are used to power communities and large areas. And if you look on the graph on the right, you can see that in 2020, cumulative US solar installations are at an all-time high. When you compare it to just in the past decade, in 2010, it has dramatically increased. And in the second quarter of 2020, there was enough megawatts of power to power 16 million homes, which is an amazing amount. It's also important to know that the solar panel industry is a 50-state market. There are solar panel installations all across the country, with California taking the lead. So, excuse me. So, though the state of California is a leading state with megawatt capacity in the United States, there are also states that are catching up, such as Texas and North Carolina. So, one fact is that in the first million installations of solar panels in the United States, California represents 51% of all of that. But now, in the figure above, in 2019, California only represents 43% of installed megawatt capacity in the country. So while California still holds the lead, other states are catching up. And that percentage that California holds is just simply getting smaller year by year. For the solar panel industry, it's also chief to know that the cost of solar installations has gone down. It has dropped more than 70% in the past decade, as you can see from this yellow line. And with this cost that has been decreasing, the deployment of solar PVs, of solar panels, has been steadily increasing, with the second quarter of 2020 at an all-time high and 2016 taking that second place hold. It's also important to note that with installations of solar panels across the country that are increasing, there is a demand for more jobs. So the solar market is also a driver for the economy, that more jobs are created and there are more people working. In 2010, about 90,000 Americans simply worked in solar. And when you compare it to 2019, over 249,000 people were working, which is double the amount of workers in 2012. Now, again, this represents residential workers, not residential workers on the utility scale. Now, why solar? Like I've discussed, solar does aim to become the most efficient and popular source of energy in our country and in the world. There is a looming worry of having a finite amount of non-renewable resources, and solar energy can solve that problem. So knowing this, it's also important to know the benefits and drawbacks of switching to solar. So I'll be talking about the pros and cons of switching over to solar. With the pros, I will be discussing the protection against blackouts, the environmental benefit, and the savings on your current utility bill. For cons, I will be discussing that switching over to solar can be a troublesome worry of understanding uh, the energy needs and different types of solar panels. Then I'll be discussing the attractiveness of solar panels. And third, for cons, is the environmental footprint of manufacturing solar PVs. Now, for the first pro benefit of switching over to solar is having a protection against blackouts. In our state of California, blackouts and power outages are an unpredictable, unprecedented worry. You have natural disasters such as wildfires and having high winds. And it's also a worry when having to save energy that there are scheduled blackouts. And one solution to this is having solar batteries and having solar panels. With solar batteries, you can store energy during the day and not have to worry about having a power outage. And these solar batteries can power essential appliances and specific rooms that you want to have up. So having a protection against this is environmentally friendly, and you can be worry-free about it. There's also environmental benefit. I've discussed this many times throughout this presentation, but solar energy is a source of 100% clean and renewable power. It doesn't produce carbon emissions, greenhouse gases, or have air pollutants. So with environmental benefit, you invest on the future and well-being of our planet, others, and our environment. You also save on your current utility bill. In the long run, you can save money on switching over to solar because with having a regular utility bill, electricity bill, you also have to worry about variability and inflation. And one fact is that national electricity costs have increased at a rate of 2.2% per year. So if you look on the graph on the right, your solar bill will be at a flat rate throughout your years, and you won't have to worry about variability on your old electricity bill. Now, for the first con of switching over to solar, understanding solar panels can be difficult. Like I talked about in the last slide, is energy needs. Knowing how many solar panels you need and how much electricity you currently use can be difficult to calculate. Second is knowing which solar panels are right for you. There are different types of solar panels that you can have, and there's like different amounts, different types of companies that sell this service. And third, is your roof compatible for solar panels? You know, Sometimes roofs aren't compatible for solar panels. It can't fit the right amount of solar panels that you currently use for your electricity, and sometimes roofs are just too small. Second drawback of switching over to solar is the attractiveness, because solar panels are not the most attractive thing on the market. It does take up space on your roof, and it's really glaring, you could say. But it's important to know that this is an investment that you make. When people drive by and walk by your home and see the solar panels on your roof, you're continuing to know that you're making an investment on saving money and society. Now, the third drawback is the environmental footprint of manufacturing, because those solar panels are a source of clean, renewable energy. The manufacturing of these solar panels can have a negative effect on the environment, because when manufacturing these solar panels, they contain toxic chemicals that can burn your skin and release toxic air pollutants into the air. So it's principal to know that when handling solar panels, always have a licensed professional. But the same materials that are inside the solar panels are the same materials in your smartphone. And with our smartphone, we hold it up to our ear every time and it's in our pocket every day. So the long-term benefits of using solar panels does outweigh the manufacturing effects. Now, to conclude my presentation, I've reiterated so many times, but solar panels have proven to be the most efficient source of energy. They're 100% clean and renewable. They're cost efficient and environmentally friendly. And with the data that I've shown, solar energy is for the future. Costs are down, jobs are up, and installations are dramatically increasing across the country. More and more people are switching over to solar, and it's really one of the right choices to make when thinking about saving your money and thinking about the environment. Now, thank you for watching my presentation. I hope that in the future you will switch over to solar. Thank you.